Hey, One Up Church and One Up Friends, Peter here with our next quarterly update. Hey, if you were at our Sunday barbecue and worship service and you've already heard this spiel, you don't need to listen to it again unless you want to. But for the rest of us, I got 5 updates for us this time as we really kind of gear up for the fall. And update number 1 is our leadership update. Back in May, Christine kind of shared about how our elder team, since our fall retreat back in November, has been in the process of really revamping how our elders function, looking for ways to free up the elders to really focus on prayer and big picture vision type stuffs, and not so much get kind of drawn into some of the nuts and bolts of ministry. There's still always be some nuts and bolts stuff that we got to do. So once a quarter, we'll be dealing with those things. But the rest of the time, we're going to be freed up to really focus on prayer, vision, pastoral care, and discipleship. And so to that end, to help us do that, we are delegating the responsibility of really giving really more direct oversight to the action teams to 3 individuals who are going to function kind of as project managers. And so we're making really good progress on what we're calling the go and do teams and worship service teams type action teams. But the one we've made the most progress on is the communications piece, because we saw that as the biggest need. And so that we jumped on that first. And so as Christine mentioned in May, we identified James Wilborn to be the project manager. He felt called to do it. And, he's a great fit to oversee kind of every aspect of communications at One Hope Church, especially communication to the community, but also within the congregation and also to visitors and such. He's not going to be doing the stuff, but he's going to be making sure everything gets done. There's a plan in place. And so I just want to give you an update on the progress we're making in that category since May and Christine's announcement about that. As Christine mentioned, we as an elder team put together this vision document. Here's just kind of the big picture we want to see happen in communications. Since that time, James and Tyreen, who has kind of a supervisorial type role with communications, and myself met to kind of take that and put some things in place, make some plans for the fall. And so I just want to share what those are. These are the deliverables that we are working on for the fall. And I just want to go on record and I'm saying this so you can keep us accountable. So if these things don't happen, you can blame James Wilborn. It's his fault. No, I'm just kidding. You can blame me, blame all of us, but it's going to happen. We're going to get this done. And so here's our fall launch goals. Number 1, a brochure for visitors. I don't know how long we've been talking about having just some kind of physical, really nice, up-to-date brochure that talks about our church and how to get in contact with people and about our small groups and et cetera, that we can give to visitors. And so we're going to have that done for the fall. Number 2, we're going to have these invite cards, kind of a business card size little invite card that you can give to people that you might meet. They're looking for a church, and you can say, here's the information about our church. And so we'll have that on hand as well. Also a refresh of our website, good website. Most visitors come in through our websites, but it's dated. We got refreshed images. And so we'll do a refreshing of the website and make sure it's really accessible for new people. And then I know I email a lot. I over-communicate a little bit with all my emails. And some of you like that. Others of you just ignore the emails. We're going to have tech in place moving into the fall that you can decide what you want to opt in, opt out of, what types of information you want to receive, how often do you want to receive an email or a text. And so we'll have that in place for the fall as well. Speaking of just kind of the regular ongoing weekly communication, here's our weekly plan. And again, big part of this is building a community presence and getting the word out about One Hope Church, as well to our those who have attended One Hope Church as well. On Sundays, we're going to post a video that we're calling Sunday Rewind. That's from Kate Bear's communications plan that she put together for us in 2018. Finally, getting some of those pieces in place, and this will be a kind of a sermon summary posted on Sunday afternoons. A 3-minute version we're going to post on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll do a shorter 60-second short on Instagram. And again, primarily just to kind of continue to build a community presence in Gig Harbor in the social media space. But also, small groups can use that video as a refresher as they kind of gear up for having the discussion time about the sermon during the Life Together groups. And then on Tuesdays, we'll be sending out kind of something like I do with my midweek links, where I just send out just some basic information, a couple links. We'll continue to do that. Thursdays, we're going to be posting a video to the social media space. It will be a kind of preview of this coming Sunday message. And sometimes it'll just be me sharing a little kind of preview, but we're also going to have a creative team that's going to hopefully come up with some really fun, creative videos sometimes for those as well. And again, that will be a 3-minute version for YouTube and Facebook, and a 60-second or less short for Instagram. And then we'll continue to do the Friday e-newsletters. I send out an email for our prayer team every Saturday as well. And then, of course, there's all kinds of periodic communication that will go out, prayer alerts when a member of our church family is going through something difficult and has given us permission to spread the word. Send that out so that we can all be aware to pray, but also how to help. And of course, whenever there's special events, we'll make a video for that, whether that's COTN or Halloween outreach or any of our other special events. And then, of course, we'll have event reminders for the congregation, as well as service opportunities with email links for signing up for things. So that, just want to give you an update on that things are happening, and we have some goals for the fall, and you can absolutely keep us accountable and make sure that happens come September, or you can wait. All right, update number 2, next year's theme. Every year at our leadership retreat, we have a theme, a focus. We've done this ever since COVID, and that we kind of work on that through the coming year. So this last year's theme was our elder team and revamping that. And so we're continued to flesh that out ever since. The theme that we're kind of landing on for this next leadership retreat, this coming November, is twofold. Number one is getting younger. We have to get younger as a church. And so how, as a church, do we attract younger families, young couples, adults? And then kind of connected with that too, the other aspect, we're focused on how to reach the unchurched and the de-churched, which is a huge segment of our Gig Harbor population. I mean, there's so many good churches in town. As a Christian family comes into town, they're looking for a church. We'll get some of those, but there's a lot of good churches going after that segment. But there's a huge segment of the population that are unchurched or de-churched. And by de-churched, usually those are folks who they may consider themselves a Christian, but they just gave up on church. They just got turned off to church for whatever reason, and just stopped coming. And so how do we reach out to that very large segment of our population? So I just want to let you know that, so you can be praying for us, and we will, out of that leadership retreat, be having some other things in place during the coming year for working on those areas. Speaking of getting younger, I mean, one aspect of getting younger is our kids ministry. And so update number 3 is just to share an update of our kids ministry relaunch this fall. Last 6 months, there's been a process of Sandy kind of passing the baton of leadership in kids ministry to Amanda. And Sandy's going to continue to be involved with kids, but Amanda's going to really take the lead into the fall. And so she's been this summer really kind of working on developing a plan, what that will look like, and be presenting something to the elders this next month to gear up for the fall. But as Sandy and I have been meeting with Jeremiah and Amanda monthly and just kind of talking next gen ministry and strategies, here's what I'm hearing from Amanda. So these are my words, but as what I'm hearing from Amanda, what that will, 3 core things I think that will look like. Number 1, biblical content is teaching the Bible to kids. But number 2, doing it in a creative way that's really accessible to each unique kid, because kids are different, they learn differently. And so I know Amanda has a passion for being really creative and flexible in how we work with kids who just learn differently and are from different backgrounds. And so that's the second pillar. And then the third thing, I just love her sharing this, she just wants to make it so ridiculously fun that kids are just begging their parents to take them to church. So that's our update on the kids ministry relaunch. And then update number 4, speaking of fun, what's more fun than sermons? So I just want to mention what our plan is for fall series. Actually, we got 2 more short series this summer, and then moving into the fall, we're going to do 1 year-long series of a kind of a through the Bible in a year. It's one series, but the Bible is so varied that there'll be so many aspects to the series and flavors. And so we're going to spend 16 weeks in the Old Testament. We're going to spend 16 weeks in the Gospels, the life of Christ. Then we're going to spend 16 weeks primarily in the book of Acts, but also in the letters and into Revelation as well. And along with that kind of teaching through the Bible, I'm really excited about the podcast season that is going to go along with that. If you have not yet experienced our podcast, our Bible reading podcast, we're going to really encourage as many who can or want to do that this fall, because there's no way we can hit the entire Bible on Sunday morning. And so Monday through Friday, we'll have some supplemental readings to kind of go along with that part of the Bible that we're in at that time. And someone from our podcast team will share some reflections. And maybe some of you may feel called to join the podcast team. We would love to have you more on that team, kind of sharing their reflections. And then that, an email and a text can go out to you with the scripture reading and the reflection of one of our podcast team folks sharing a little devotional on that scripture. And then finally, update number 5 is small groups and discipleship. I love Sunday mornings. I love what happens on Sunday mornings, but the bottom line is real spiritual growth. Doesn't happen Sunday mornings. It happens in the context of relationships, and that is best facilitated in the context of small groups. And so I haven't talked a whole lot about our small groups lately, just because since COVID, frankly, I'm just happy anybody even shows up on Sunday mornings. But it's time. We have to continue to grow and strengthen our small groups. We got 2 types of groups. One we call Life Together groups. Those have not stopped meeting, even though we have stopped kind of talking about it. They're still happening, but we really want to continue to now grow and build those and start new ones. And so, a core part of One Hope's DNA is relationships. I mean, that is the strength, is the friendships and the relationships in this church as a church family. But the only way for new folks to really tap into that DNA, it's not going to happen Sunday morning. It happens in the context of relationships in the home setting. So that's a core reason for our Life Together groups. It's to care for one another in the context of a group and have some discussion periodically of our sermon series and such, but it's really about building relationships and growing in those relationships. And then the other type of group that I talk about a lot, but we've not really formally launched until now, is discipleship groups. And these are smaller groups of maybe 4 or 5 or 6 guys meeting together, 4 or 5 or 6 gals meeting together, going over kind of what I call our equipping tracks, like various materials in place, and for kind of just going through the basics of the Christian life, going deeper in different tracks that we have available. And we're really formally launching that this summer. We've got a Thursday guys group that now meets 5, 6, 7 guys, going through some foundational materials by the navigators that I've landed on. We got another group of about 6 gals meeting Monday nights. And so just know that's happening, and we want to launch more of those discipleship groups. We want to keep them relatively small so you can be vulnerable a little bit and go a little deeper in relationship. But if you are interested in kind of growing in discipleship, you can certainly talk to me and I'll help you connect with a group and get going. But also just be aware we're going to be talking a lot more about the opportunities with discipleship groups in the coming months as we move into the fall. So just be aware of that. All right. Well, hey, thanks for listening to these updates. Let me just give a final little word of encouragement. About last year at this time, we did the little 10-year anniversary at Zamo Park, and it was a fun event, and it was kind of a milestone, for me and Sandy being here 10 plus years, for you as a church being, you were in existence even a little bit before then. And as we were kind of packing up, Ron Brock told me that, when we first started this church, we hired a church consultant, and this is before I got there. He just met with you guys and looked at your plans. And I don't know if he gave a report or what, but Ron basically shared that church consultant told you that, you're not going to last more than 3 years. And here you are, 13 years or whatever it is. And not, you haven't just survived, beating the odds of a church plant, but you survived COVID. I know of 3 churches, our size or a little bigger, in Gig Harbor that didn't survive COVID, didn't make it. And yet you have survived all these years. You're still here. We're still here. But of course, we don't want to just survive. We want to thrive. And to do that, we really need to continue this process of we're passing the baton to you younger folks, young adults, young families, passing off leadership, training the next generation. You're not the future of the church. You are the church. And yet at the same time, us old timers, we're not going away, and we want to still be involved in ministry and mentoring. And that's the other aspect that I love about this church, is that it is intergenerational. We need each other. And so I want to continue to grow in just how to do that, to raise up new folks to jump into ministry in various ways. Use your gifts. Some of you have gifts we don't even know about. We flesh those out and see what God will do as we continue to move forward as the church. Jesus said, I will build my church. Gates of hell will not prevail against it. He's the church planter, and he's the one that has kept us surviving this long. He's going to help us thrive into the years to come. All right. Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. And sorry this has been a little bit longer of a video, but I had a lot to say. So we'll talk to you next time. We'll keep the next one a little bit shorter.